I think our video and my project today has something to do with these switches. There's two switches. These are paddle switches, on, off, on, off. That turns the light on in the kitchen. The one above the sink, and this turns on the garbage disposal. And here's an electrical outlet. And what I like to usually see happen is next to a sink, when you're washing plates off and stuff, or just washing your hands or doing some dishes, whatever it is, I like to have the garbage disposal switch the closest over here so that I don't have to reach too far. If I'm standing here and planted washing, I just want to reach over here nice and easy to turn the garbage disposal on and off. I don't want to have to re-step over here and push it on and off over here. I don't really like to do that. That's a pet peeve of mine. I've got a lot of pet peeves. If you haven't been watching my videos, you'll see there's certain things that I just don't like to see in a house. And these things are easy enough to fix. So I'm gonna take this switch and I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna take this one and put it over here. Basically, I'm just gonna swap them. I have to do that in a certain sequence. Now, how am I gonna do all that? Well, I'll show you if you choose to watch this video. Are you learning anything by watching my videos? I hope you are. And if you're not a subscriber of mine just yet, please subscribe. If you're interested in being an average Joe, just like me, on fixing your own things around the house so you can save money. Now, the first thing I've taught you before, and if you have any common sense or not, this is what I want you to know at this point. Before you even take this cover plate off, before you even think about anything, we've got to turn the power off to these things. And here's the other interesting thing that usually happens. And I have not checked the electrical breakers yet, but generally the garbage disposal is on a separate circuit. And usually the garbage disposal, if I was wiring up this kitchen, I would probably have the garbage disposal and maybe the dishwasher on the same circuit or something like that. It has a motor in it, and usually you don't hook up your garbage disposal with all of your light switches in the house. This one is for a light switch, and what they've done is they've probably attached this light switch with lots of other lights in the kitchen, in the main room, and all that. And maybe the circuit is full, and this is a 1 horsepower or 3/4 horsepower motor that takes a little bit more power. And so generally they'll have this on a separate circuit. The electrical outlet is probably on a different circuit than the light switches. Usually you'll find in electrical panels, most of all the light switches are all hooked up together in certain areas on different breakers than the electrical outlets. So what does that tell me? That tells me I probably have to find 3 different electrical outlets or electrical circuit breakers for this area. I probably got 3 different powers, main powers coming into this box. 1 for the electrical outlet, 1 for the light switch, 1 for the garbage disposal. And before, what I can do is I can plug a radio in here. I've got a little electrical tester. I can test that first. I can put a little lamp in there or something like that. I want to make dead sure that once I turn off a breaker that everything is off. I don't want to just turn one off and say, oh, okay, that's off now, that's not working, and make the assumption that everything else is dead in this box. Go through the extra effort. Turn this on, make sure it's not working. Turn this on, make sure it's not working. Plug something into there and make sure it's not working. And I think you're going to find you're going to have many different circuit breakers to turn off. So that's my next step. Let's see, here's my little electrical tester, and it's got 110 and 220, and there'll be 2 lights. This will light up when I plug it in here, and I can test this like that. You see there? The orange is lit up when I push it in there. See? I have to be careful that if I'm going to use this, I'm going to have to really move it around a little bit. Sometimes you push these straight in and nothing works until you kind of move it a little bit, okay? So you can get those at the hardware store, in the electrical department. Usually they're around $5 or so, and they can range. You can get different ones. You can even get one that just kind of plugs in, a little box, and it's got a little light on it and stuff. You can do it that way too, okay? So now off to the electrical panel I go. I'm going to talk to you briefly a little bit more about this. Now I found in the main electrical panel it said garbage disposal, and there was only one circuit to it because I found the dishwasher was on a separate circuit. So there was one circuit that's isolated and earmarked only for the garbage disposal. Let's see, I've got it shut off. Sure enough, and I have not done anything with the light. That light switch is actually for a light that they put up here in the ceiling. It's that one went on and not this one. And the funny thing with that was kind of silly too, where they installed that, because see, there's kitchen cabinets right above the sink, and then there's a light. That's kind of weird how they got that window there. But see where they got the light? When you turn that light on at night, that light shines kind of directly on top of the cabinet. They should have located that light out another foot or so. And this light here, they left because it was in line with these other three. They really didn't need this other light above the kitchen sink, so to speak, because this one could have sufficed for that. Except usually on that you want it straight down, because you don't want it over your shoulder and having it so that the light bounces off of your back before it gets down to your sink, let's say. But either way, I'm not here to really discuss that. And I also found the actual breaker for this electrical outlet here, and it was listed under kitchen GFI. And GFI is ground fault interrupter, and usually you have that on all of your plugs, your outlets in the kitchen. Now, how come right here there's no GFI outlet? See, here's another one. There's nothing. Look here, usually on your kitchen countertop somewhere, you're gonna have, this is a GFI, this is a reset button, and here. And if you press the bottom one, did you hear that snap out? Did you see it? I'll do it again. You press this is a test. That pops out, and then it interrupts. It shuts the power off right from this outlet for anything else that is attached to this one. And my guess is this one is also attached to these other two over here. Now usually in a box, when you get a box from the store and it has a GFI electrical outlet such as this with the trip breaker, with the trip thing on there, it'll give you some little labels that says GFI protected, or this plug, this outlet GFI protected, or whatever. And then you can put them on your other ones. This should have a label on here that says GFI protected. And that one should have one too, but they don't. The guy forgot to do it. But let's see if there's any other plugs in here. And see, there is one here. We just got that thing on there, plug that in, and then it has two little outlets up here to have your phone chargers if you want. But see here, this should be GFI protected. And let's just leave that off for a minute and see if it is. And you look, there's one more that I noticed. Here's another one by this little sink. And that one, I'm going to say is GFI protected. I have not checked that yet. Let's check it together, shall we? So right now, I've got the power, the breaker on, because and here's the other thing, if the breaker was off outside, that button probably would not reset. It might trip it, but it probably would not reset it, because you got to have power. As far as I know, you got to have power on there. See, we do have power here. Okay? And the breaker out in the electrical panel is just a regular breaker. Now some breakers now you can get you can get a 20 amp, and this was under a 20 amp circuit in the electrical panel. Sometimes you can get breakers now that has the actual trip on it right there on the breaker, and maybe you don't have to install an electrical outlet such as this. You can just have regular electrical outlets, but usually they like to do it somewhere in the kitchen.